Hey guys, welcome to the June 2022 PUP release notes. This is a rather large patch, so feel free to put this video on during your dishwashing or clothing, ironing or whatever. We're going to be going through these release notes. There are a lot of balance changes, there are design changes, and there are bug fixes and UI and UX improvements. I have read some of them, but not all. Let's go through it and see if I have anything to add to any of the points. This link to the written patch notes is also in the description of my YouTube video, so you should be able to click on that and read it for yourself. Okay, dokie, let's jump into it. This patch notes is going to be accompanying the Season 2 update. It will run from June 7th till June 20th. You can play this via toggling your Steam launcher to the patch preview instead of the live preview. With the PUP ending on June 20th, I am assuming Season 2 will start soon after that. I think Season 2 actually has an official release date already, and if someone knows... Yes, thank you for the Reddit post, U60. If someone knows when it is going live, that will be helpful, let me know. So, new features. Players can choose a color or have a color randomly assigned at the start of the match. To see the options, go to the player colors options and choose unique settings game player colors. Nice. People have been wanting this. And you can also choose your color for the following game modes. These four. Single player, multiplayer, unranked, and ranked. Hotkeys. Based on your feedback, we've continued to refine hotkeys to ensure you're able to customize and play as you wish. Reorganization of hotkey menus. Global key remapping menus have been updated and consolidated to make finding hotkeys easier. New, fully remappable hotkey layouts. When switching into fully remappable for the first time, the default keys will be set to align with default grid key layout. Once in the fully remappable layout, you can independently reassign any hotkey binding. Now, I don't need to tell you guys how good that is, but I will anyway. Because right now, a farm and an archery range occupy the same hotkey A because of the QY menu split. So if you rebind farm building, then you rebind archery building. There is no other way. And this is bad. Finally, we can change it. So we are now in June 2022. The game came out in October 2021, and you may remember me being quoted as saying that I was happy that the game came out early. This was my response to people saying the game is not quite ready for release yet because there are too many bugs and there's too many UI UX problems and imbalances and whatnot. And I agree with that, but I was also happy with it because I was really happy for a new experience to start playing AOE4. And since October 2021, I have more than 1,000 hours into AOE4. And that's not counting watching streams and whatnot. So I've been happy with it. But with this change, among others, we are closer to getting to what a fully released game should actually already have and be like. So maybe in a couple of months we'll actually be there. Nonetheless, the game is good, but yeah, too many bugs. And yes, I used to play a lot of AOE4 off stream too. Moi. If I had a 10-minute gap, I would go test some build orders when everything was new. Now, just like Warcraft 3 and HOTS, it's mostly all on stream. Once in the fully remappable layout, you can now independently assign. So this is good. Changes to how hotkey conflicts work. Previously, and I found this myself, previously when a new hotkey conflict was created, any existing keys with the same binding would be unbound. Yeah, so I just had this problem. As of this update, hotkey conflicts are allowed, but you'll be prompted when you want to take a double hotkey. And if you cancel, it reverts. So at least you'll know which two are related. I still think this can be done better. I think it could take you to the part in the menu where the other hotkey is being used, but this is better than before. And there'll be a toggle for warn conflicts. Map preference system. There's going to be a brand new map. There's also going to be a new map preference system. For some time we heard community requests for a way to give players a say over the maps they play in quick play and ranked. With this update we're adding our first version of map preference system. You can learn more about the system here. Well, I can't look at it now because I'm not logged in, but I can log in. Additionally, basically you're gonna downvote maps that you don't want to play. I believe up to 4 in 4-on-4. And it is going to choose maps based on the most accepted route. So if one map is downvoted a lot, it doesn't mean it can't be picked at all, but it has a much lower likelihood. Then one player may like delete all the water maps, and another player deletes all the choke maps, and then there's 5 players that delete all the open maps. Then you're actually going to be playing on water maps and Black Forest and so on. It's going to be a preference system. You posted a comment below. Oh, nice, U60. You posted a comment. I'm assuming it's going to be among best. UC60. U60. Each queue will provide players with a set of downvotes they can apply to maps that appear in the respective queues. In quick play you have up to 5 downvotes. In ranked you have 3. The map that ends up being chosen for the match will be selected from the subset of maps that receives the lowest collective number of downvotes. So this is going to be making the most people happy, but it will also shrink the eligible map pool a bit more. So that's the way that this system works. A new panoramic camera option allows for even greater zoom distance than before. For the purposes of the PUP, we've set the camera to panoramic automatically only, and we'll hear from you if this should be default. Tell us what you think. And I've seen that zoom out level already. This. Micro will be harder, macro will be easier. As usual, that's the decision, right? There's also a kind of change in perspective. Like, it seems like bulging and hills feel and look a little bit different now. It's definitely a nerf to night rates, yeah. A lot of people have been asking for this from the start. I think this is a good thing. Whatever you think of it, whether you like it or you don't like it, I think options are good. You can say that it hurts the competitiveness when you allow more zoom out, because it is a skill to keep track of where things are when things are smaller. And to that I say, welcome to Warcraft 3 in 2004. Don't mind the pixelation for the moment, for the time being. But let's pay attention to the zoom in level. Let's see if we can get a nice shot of a base. This is the zoom in level of Warcraft 3 in 2004. And I can't believe I used to play with this, because these days I'm playing with this level of zoom. Wait, this is also zoom in. Oh, a year ago during Christmas I still had the thick zoom. Let me find an even more recent video. I need to get even more recent video. Yeah, I couldn't get used to it then yet. Alright, here, check it out. This is now my level of zoom. Let's find a nice base shot. Look, much better, isn't it? More zoom out, can see more. And this was enabled by the Chinese client in Warcraft 3, and it's now enabled by the English third-party client. And it's simply an option now. And yes, it does lower the skill requirement for panning around the battlefield and seeing everything. I think I was quite good at that, at the chaotic, super hyper zoomed in perspective. However, I think it is a good thing for most of us when the game is healthier and has more players. And if there's players that want that zoom out, I think that's healthy to have that as an option. So we'll see how that is. We'll test that out soon enough. Yeah, I agree with that. After a certain point, you start to feel more disconnected from the action. I agree with that. I agree. And maybe everyone has to make their own choice. I would prefer if zoom was a slider even, that everyone could decide their own zoom. I personally don't feel like AOE4 needs it. I feel like it's very zoomed out already. But I'm trying not to let my personal preference dictate what other people are allowed to calibrate. In a multiplayer game, when a player quits, crashes or surrenders, their landmarks are going to become neutral but must still be destroyed for a team landmark victory. This is a known issue, but it's written out of order, I believe, because a new thing is going to be that in order to win a team game, you need to destroy all 16 landmarks instead of just destroy 4 of one player and then they get ejected from the game. So it is more of a cooperative effort now, and I think that's correct. And these are known issues. I'm not going to go through them too much. You can pause the YouTube video if you like, but it's a very lengthy document, so I'm just going to skip known issues for now. I do think some of the known issues are quite interesting, such as we are aware that when you play Chinese, you enter Ming Dynasty. Every time you make a dynastic unit, you'll have a Ming Dynasty notification. We're working on this issue and don't require reports. I think it's interesting you can have a patch that's been worked on for this long, that there are still issues like this that are sounding so simple, but that it is less work for them to write up a known issue than to actually just fix it. And that might be naive to the process or how spaghetti some of the code is, but I do think it's interesting, like, that this could be an issue that is going to be on the PUP at least, and maybe even make it into Season 2 live. It's not live yet, but if this makes it to live, that'll tell you about the amount of things that they still need to fix. Yeah, yeah, we'll see if they do or not, U60. We'll see if they do. Okay. There are going to be new hotkey changes. The council hall landmark can now be selected with the archery range shortcuts, White Tower inside the keep, Berkshire inside the keep, Red Palace with the keep, Spolskaya with the keep, and so on. The House of Learning will now be part of the blacksmith hotkey. Or the technology buildings hotkey, in fact, which is where blacksmith and university are. Palace of the Sultan landmark changed from religious to military and can now be selected with military shortcuts. That's helpful for rallying those elephants. Astronomical clock tower can now be selected with the siege workshop shortcuts, which is nice because I recently bound these to HJ, KL and stuff, but I hadn't used it much yet. Doc is U for me. So a number of really cool changes. I definitely want to try and start using barracks, archery range, stable and siege workshop hotkeys, as well as dock. So I don't need to use my 1 to 0 for that anymore. Select all military units will no longer include monks, which also includes prelates. That's really nice. Though you will need a robust hotkey for monks then. So if you aren't using hotkeys for monks yet, you're gonna need to. And what's more is I wonder if you can have a select all monks hotkey. I guess probably that already exists, because that's sometimes how I find some of my monks and scholars. But it's good that Delhi Sultanate fishing ships are no longer part of it, nor Mongol Pact buildings. But I also think they should remove naval military from the select all military. I can't see any situation where you would ever want to use the all army hotkey to send your ground military and your naval military to the same place. Seeing as how, you know, they can't. Well, okay. A riverbank. Okay. A riverbank sand crossing. They can go to the same place. It already is Rax. A riverbank sand crossing. The real question is, will this make people play again? After quitting months ago, I don't see myself playing still. I don't think most of these changes are gonna bring a lot of people back because the game hasn't been like live that long yet. for people to become really hooked to it to the point where it's like a part of their serious routine. I think what will bring people back or bring new people is advertisement via sponsoring creators that don't play the game yet, and via advertisement in the traditional way, like Twitch ads and whatnot, and a large content drop, like new campaigns, new civilizations. And when we get new campaigns and civs, they better hit the ground running, right? There cannot be other, oh my god, this is still in a very rough state and has pushed people away again. Yeah, if you quit just because your hotkey customization wasn't good enough and you were waiting for that, then it's time to come back, right? If you quit because of your civs, HRE being weak and bugged, it's time to come back. But the game is still roughly the same in terms of gameplay. I think it got better. But if you're looking, like, there's a lot of people that are like interested in different aspects of the game. So for instance, if you are a player that likes to discover new content, but you never settle in for the long grind where you try to constantly play every day to get better, then there's nothing much new yet. I am that grind player, so I tend to commit long term to games and with dedication. But you could also be a player that likes to discover new content. You like a bit of a grind, but you also like it in a casual sense with some achievements, with some social aspect, with some new missions and new content. And I think most of you are like this, actually. And for that, there would need to be a better casual path to keep playing. So for instance, StarCraft 2 had co-op commanders, and AOE4 doesn't have anything like that. So that's something to keep in mind for Relic if they want to long-term give great entertainment value to non-tryhards. So this is good stuff. Then event queue and notifications. Reduced number of mappings when multiple attacks occur next to each other. I remember the frequency could be like tick, 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 which is a bit much, yes. The increased notification retrigger time when buildings are attacked. I think this is too long, and I think this is too short. You could be attacked on your stone mining camp, then 5 seconds later you get attacked on your lumber camp somewhere else, and you get no notification. Just your buildings, maybe not your villagers. And there's also still not a villager unique attack sound. Warcraft 3 has different attack animation sounds. There can be like, your sacred grove is being desecrated. And there's also like, your town is under attack. This is like, your base is under attack, different civs, right? But I think there are other attack sounds, like your army is under attack. Actually, now, I've only heard it a couple of million times in my life, so forgive me if I don't remember exactly, but retrigger on the same building? It doesn't say that, Bait, Baya. Our forces are under attack? Yeah, probably. And look, if I made an RTS, I would have our forces under attack, our base is under attack, our workers are under attack. I think you need these three. We're under attack! I think those three are the important ones that helps the player parse the urgency and the nature of the attack. And I hope that every RTS could do that, and I hope Relic could do that. Removes mapping on upgrade complete. Ally under attack ping change from red to blue. Ally under attack ping triggers less frequently when units are fighting against each other. Okay, here's gonna be a big one. Not relevant, I have to say I love the shirt. Thanks. Okay. We want to add more strategic considerations to army positioning around siege weapons while increasing realism in the interaction between siege and non-siege units. So, pretty big siege rework coming. To accomplish this, we've made all units except villagers use their normal weapons versus siege units. This means the knight will be a powerful charge versus siege when there are no nearby spearmen with brace. Units not using torches means they will have to get closer to their target, so it's easier to block them and protect the siege. Of course, we still want there to be multiple counterplay options to Siege. To get the balance right, we've done a large rebalancing pass to reduce the health of Siege and made some units like Horsemen remain strong counters by giving their melee attacks bonus damage against siege weapons. Interesting. Units that attack with melee weapons no longer switch to torches. Villagers continue to use torches against siege units and gain +2 damage against siege. This is a topic that drew a question mark in our private discussion forums with Relic, and this was actually written unfortunately. This was written in an unfortunate manner that actually deceives you to what actually is going to happen. Right now, villagers do 10 damage and have +10 to siege. The new villager does 10 and does +2 damage to siege. AKA, villagers still use torches but get -8 damage against siege when attacking. That's supposedly the difference. Yeah. So villagers do 10 torch damage to buildings and 12 to siege. Down from 10, 20. Horsemen melee weapons gain +10 bonus damage to siege, so they are treated as ranged. Horsemen also do +10 to range, right? Isn't it 9 +9 to range? So they're gonna get 9 +10 to siege or something. 1 damage off. Other tortures no longer deal bonus damage against siege. What are other torches? Units with melee don't switch to torches. Villagers still have torches. Other torches don't do bonus. Who else have a torch? Nobody. As far as I know. If you know, let me know, chat. This is a big one that I'm very positive about, very happy about. Villager repair rate of siege units has been quartered. Well, ranged don't have torch. Quartered repair rate, which makes sense. Recently, I was attacking a siege unit with 30 units or so, maybe half melee, half ranged, and 2 to 3 villagers out-repaired that damage. Lol. Ranged armor for all siege weapons increased to 20, so they cannot take any damage from any ranged unit anymore, outside of other siege units and hand cannons and streltsy. And even tower elephants do 15 damage. So they will not take much damage from tower elephants until those come into melee range. Bombers and cannons have even more. So hand cannons do like what, 40, 50 damage? So instead of like still doing 35 over 15 armor, they're gonna have much less damage. Hand cannons will be much worse at walking forward and sniping siege. Turns out you will need mostly melee or Springles and Culverins. Reduce the height of the trebuchet defensive cannon to make them easier to read. Ram health is down a lot. So this is the pass that they said they're making at siege units. Ram health down from 700 to 420. Mangonel 240 to 140. Ranged armor from 8 to 20. Springled from 200 to 125. Ranged armor from 8 to 20. So they're saying kill them with melee or other Springles. Springled bonus damage from 90 to 50. Which is, of course, quite corresponding to their new health. So a Springled does how much damage? 30 plus 90. So that's 30 plus 90 is 120. And they were receiving 8 armor mitigation, so they were doing 112, which is why double 112 killed an enemy Springled. The new is going to do 30 plus 50 is 80, reduced by 20 is 60. So they're not going to double shot an enemy Springled anymore. Huh. So they're changing the way that Springleds kill each other. You need 3 Springleds for an enemy Springled, or an additional 1 melee attack. I thought ranged armor wasn't factored against siege damage. I thought Springleds are an exception to that. Because they're like, they're shooting like a heavy arrow. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe we don't have enough viewers yet to get the right answer to everything. Clockwork, Springled health reduced from 300 to 190. Springled range armor from 8 to 20. Rebaldequin. A lot of changes here as well. Basically dropping their fire armor, increasing melee armor, and reducing their health. Well, melee units are like men-at-arms. Men-at-arms used to do torch damage, and now they're going to do their regular attack, which is like 12 to 15 damage on average. I don't know how much torch damage they had. 15, but it gave them more range. It seems like all units are worse against siege. They only have ranged armor, not melee. Yeah, yes, they only have ranged armor, not melee. The siege units have a lot less health. So all melee units, spears, men-at-arms, horsemen, and knights, I think all of them are better than before. And the ranged armor going up is so that longbows with upgrades cannot kill them. I tried PUP yesterday. Siege die very fast, much faster. But when you protect them, not anymore. When unprotected, they insta-die. That's a great thing, isn't it? We remember that game of Beastie Cutie on Mongolian Heights, where he had a ball of like 4 culverins, 4 bombards, 6 springles, and like 6 mangonels, and like nothing could attack it. None of the melee units, no units could get near and kill it. But like now you need to babysit your siege, and siege are slow. So yeah, that's great. I'll take your word for it, WNTD says that's the case, and that sounds really healthy. Also, when we had torch damage, units were moving and attacking at the same time. Yup. Now we have a little animation delay because it's melee attack. Cavalry charge kills them instantly as well. Right. Yeah, like a mangonel, how much is mangonel gonna have? 140. How much does a cavalry charge do? Like 45. So 3 cavalries charge on a mangonel, it's practically dead. No, it's literally dead. Right? 45, 90? No, practically. 5 health left. With 2 attack upgrades, like 3 French knights will one-shot a mangonel, I think. You also need 2 springled shots to kill another springled, not 3. Really? So that means that springled range damage is not mitigated by ranged armor. No. 2 shots, okay. Still 2 shots. Trebuchets getting the rebalancing pass as well. Nest of Bees is getting the rebalancing pass. It should be noted that Nest of Bees will now be 140 health, same as Mango. But before Nest of Bees was 200 and Mango was 240. So Nest of Bees is getting a health increase relatively to the Mangonel, which of course Reddit has not noticed. It's like, why are they killing Chinese? Deer and sheep, which are blocking a building foundation, now skedaddle much faster. That's good. Trade ships no longer return additional gold. Instead, they return 100% of trade value as wood. Shorefish and riverfish occupy a smaller impasse, reducing the likelihood of unintended stomping when placing docks. Villagers will now prefer deer over berry bushes. Oh, thank God for this. When building a new mill or jur. Reduce the travel distance. Villagers will scan for new resources after exhausting a stone outcropping, gold vein, or forest. Yeah, I remember sometimes they went like range 7 or 8 to find a new gold mine. I wonder how much extra range there's going to be to that. How little. I think this is a good change. I wonder how little range they will acquire. Units will be able to gather stonewall gates. Units will be able to attack stonewall gates. This was already the case for stone walls, but not for gates yet. Okay. Building and placement bonus damage versus boats. Yo, it wasn't applying to transport, trade, fishing, and demo ships. No wonder. Sometimes your fishing boat could take numerous hits, and then your military boat comes in range and it dies so fast. Grubby, how come you don't do intros on your YouTube vids like you used to? Because it used to take me like 30 minutes every night. So now if we have a teaser or a natural intro to the video, we just run the video. And if it is very big question mark what people are watching, then I do an intro. So I do intro maybe 1 out of 3 videos. A lot healthier workflow for my mental health. Because I would just finish stream at 3 a.m. and then by 4 a.m. I'm done with everything. Arrow slit, emplacements, bonus range decreased from +2 to +1. So range 6 is the baseline tower with garrison. Then it became 8, which outranges longbows with arrow slits. Now it's going to be 7. This is a rather huge change that will make it harder to defend against longbows with an arrow emplacement in front of your stone outcropping gold mine. Or your stone outcropping or your gold outcropping. But it also reduces aggressive abuse of towers a bit. I think this is a good change. I like the preview teaser. Nice. Most of my new viewers in Haas and AOE4 like the teasers. Most of my Warcraft 3 viewers are sometimes a little afraid of teasers because they're not used to it and they are so diehard fans, they didn't need the clickbait of a teaser. So they feel like they got spoiled. But different opinions. I'm trying out a lot of different stuff to see what feels good. Springald emplacement damage decreased from 60 to 40. That's nice. That's good. Attack speed decreased from 6 to 4. But I think this is an attack speed increase. No? Attacking once every 6 seconds or attacking once every 4.5. So it attacks 50% faster, does 50% less damage. Unless I'm reading this differently, because 6 attack speed, they fire slower. So they fire slower and they do less damage. Okay. Then I don't know what kind of unit this is, liters or miles. But so they're slower and they do less damage. Well, I think that's a good thing. Springald emplacements are nutty. Cannon emplacements deal 100% of their damage in AoE. So they were one-shotting like veteran crossbows in a clump. From 85 to 70 probably means veteran crossbows survive. Just barely. But they're quite strong. But this is also an expensive tower. Based on the comment, it says it's an attack speed increase, just typo. Yeah, that's what I think. Sometimes you don't know until you test it, because it could be a bug in their writing. Buildings that cost exclusively stone will now cost stone to repair instead of wood. This is pretty huge. And feels intuitive, and it feels right. Repairing keeps with infinite wood, even though stone is supposed to be an extremely limited resource. That didn't feel right. So now if you get exactly 800 stone, you make a keep. Hey, you better keep gathering stone or you can't repair that baby. I think this is a big, very healthy change that should have come a while ago, but it's good that it comes. Relic limits on all monasteries and landmarks that act as monasteries set to 3. Overall, I like this. The Abbey of the Trinity already caps at 3. Recknitz used to cap at 3, now 2. But others were able to have more. You could have 5 in a mosque. The only reason I don't like this is because of something related but unrelated. A quality of life thing. Well, pagodas can only have 1, Nosy Bob. Yeah, Recknitz is 3 now, I know, but we haven't got to that point yet. Inside Delhi, you have this thing where if you rally a Dome of the Faith scholar to a mosque, there's 2 things he might want to do. Either he goes inside or he picks up a relic. 99 out of 100 times when you rally your Dome of the Faith to a mosque, and there is free entry, and there is relics, 99% of the time you want him to go inside. But the game reads his right-click smart command as retrieve relic command. There is a special hotkey for garrisoning, F, left click, but that only triggers if you do F left click. But the higher priority smart command is retrieve relic, which is fine on a scholar that you are controlling yourself, because maybe that's what you want, and you can just do F click. But it would be nice to gain a new hotkey that is called retrieve relic. That way you've got two specific commands that do exactly what you want. F, garrison, G, retrieve relic. And then right click can have either one at priority. That's just how smart commands work. When you think of games a bit, there's a lot of smart commands and it always has to guess what you want. And then you learn that priority list, and then you learn to override it with specific commands. But it is my opinion that garrison inside should have a higher priority than retrieve relic, so that rallying scholars is not a pain in the ass. The way that I'm currently solving this is making sure that all relics that I have as Delhi, let's say I get all 5, I put all of them in one mask, I fill it up with 3 scholars, and I never touch the thing. Then any new madrasa and mosque that I have, that's where I rally my scholars towards, so that I don't interact with the relic holder. Now I'm gonna have to split them among 2 mosques, 3 here and 2 there. So now I don't have a pure singular mosque that doesn't get interacted with, and every time I rally new scholars to a mosque, I have to do the extra actions. Can I do it? Absolutely. I'm a 6 times world champion RTS player. But even if I was a rank 1 player in AOE4, then I could still want that to work better for the casual, and just because this is not a particular area that I like to try and show my expertise in, I like to fight that out on the battlefield with tactics and strategy and whatnot. So I think that should be improved for me and for everyone. Keep landmarks now correctly activate a new weapon for each of their garrison slots. I don't know what that means. Activate a new weapon. Food deposit buildings can now be placed closer to fish resources in shallow water. So you can mill closer to fish. Stone wall health when construction begins. You said Viper also reported that, the Lausch? Yeah. Sounds like not all garrison units were firing. Yeah, or they were firing with the same weapon. Like one multi-shot bow or something. But yeah, it does sound like that, Moltra. Stonewall health when construction begins is now 1% instead of 10. I think that's really good. I wonder if they'll do the same thing for wooden walls, because wooden walls also start at 75 out of 750, I believe. Are they gonna have wooden walls start at 7.5 so that you can one-shot a wooden wall when someone makes it? Might be a good thing. So that walls have to be proactive and not reactive. Why pro player never use monk to speed up the research time? They only use them for healing. Because they're looking to hit a castle age timing with elephants that were previously not receiving upgrades. Delhi at the pro level right now, Tadiran, is all about tower elephants that barely have any upgrades. Imperial is way too slow, so Delhi almost doesn't go Imperial. So they just make elephants and scholars. Neither of them need upgrades. What does need upgrades? Veteran spearman, veteran archer. Men-at-arms are upgrade important. So you need 2 blacksmiths, you need lots of time. Timings are very important in pro play. So if you can immediately squeeze out 6 elephants and 6 scholars and you can attack and win with that, that is better than saying, I'm going to upgrade all the stuff that I can make. And then when it's upgraded, then I'm going to hope that I'm still in a place in the game where I'm winning or where I can win with it and that my opponent isn't Imperial yet. Having said that, some pro players have started practicing 20 scholar madrasa Imperial play. So that's just a skill thing. Skill for players needs to catch up in order to start doing that. But healing is so strong. Healing elephants, tower elephants is so strong that they mostly do that. Units with activated abilities can now activate their ability from a mixed multi-selection. Nice. Spearman will wait longer to spear wall. Here's a big one. Grenadier damage goes down. Their range goes down. They no longer receive Pyrotechnics upgrade. So that goes down the range. Their AoE fall off damage has been reduced. Huge Grenadier nerfs. Yeah, naval units will hit more units rather than dogs. Horsemen armor scaling, ranged armor, goes from 1, 2, 3, 4 per age. That means that elite horseman will have 7 ranged armor. If you combine it with the Rus warrior monk or the prelate military buff, they could have 8 or 9 armor. I think 8 or 9. I think that's good. Right now, elite horsemen are pretty good spam units, but they can't really beat hand cannons or even large archer and crossbow balls. It's going to be a little better. We'll see how it goes. I think it's a pretty solid buff that makes them quite strong, actually. 7 ranged armor baseline also is going to make them better at resisting arrow slit emplacements, spring ult emplacements. Arrow slits do 8. So they will receive 1 instead of 3, which is a huge buff to the horseman. Monk train time across the board for all civs. 30 seconds instead of 45. Quicker relic retrieval. So it's even more worth to go for quick monks when you get castle age than before. Interesting. That means the Chinese can make a monk in like what, 12.5 seconds if you supervise it. 12 seconds. Interesting. Let me pour some tea. Fix an issue where a unit attack move wouldn't prioritize defensive landmarks. Well, this could be a downside for attackers. This is a downside for attackers. If you go past the Barbican, you probably want to kill the villagers with attack move, not the Barbican. Yeah, maybe we'll have a patch notes like this for Warcraft 3 in June as well, James Lewin. Transport ships text updated to highlight that the ship will use the line of sight of units inside its garrison. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so putting a scout inside is strong, right? All allied landmarks must be destroyed for victory condition in team games and for someone to be ejected. Cannon culverin and hand cannon slit projectile speed has been slowed down so the projectiles can be seen with the human eye. Okay. I saw them. Did you guys not see them? But that also means their damage point is delayed, isn't it? Herbal medicine technology costs reduced from 350 to 75. From 350 to 275. And research time from 60 to 45. I could barely see them. Delhi Sultan in 1 goes up. So their answer to powerful scholar tower elephant all-ins is to make it 45-second delayed, the timing of herbal medicine. But they want other civs to use this more often. I do want to use it more often. I had a game of English recently against Chinese. You guys remember the 2-hour game last week? I made 3 monks to heal all my hand cannons. It's quite nice. How do you like the new pay-to-win mentality of Blizzard? Who's Blizzard? Blizzard's a dirty word now, Tadiran. Don't bring that into my chat room here, my safe space. I remember when I used to say I was proud to be a Blizzard Games player. Now, people may think that I associate with Diablo Immortal. Siege engineering technology research time reduced from 60 to 45 seconds. As the path to utilize this technology is long in the early game. In some cases, the window of opportunity was closed before ramps could be utilized. Does this also affect Delhi? That's what I'm wondering, Relic. But I guess it does. Show me on this puppet where Blizzard touched you. Alright, I'll show you. Too graphic for stream. So, professional scouts drop carcass commands can now be queued before holding a carcass. That's good. Fixed an issue where units using attack move wouldn't prioritize defensive. Yeah, I've seen that. This is really nice. This is the kind of quality of life improvement that will just help people be better with shift commands rather than having to constantly do little menial tasks for no reason just because the engine doesn't support it. Just checking, you still can't queue drop off gold on Chinese tax collectors until they have the gold, right? It would be nice if this type of change affected them too. Yes, it would. Good point, Vabated. Fix shift command, please. I think they already made some improvements to it, no? Didn't they? Or did they not? Mill influence range for Abbasid. Ab. Oh, we should start calling them Ab too. Mill influence range increase +1 tile. Oh, this is nice. You can now have your mill spaced with farm space in between rather than that one slot influence thing. So you can have, that's good, that's good. Which days are hot days? If I get tilted in AOE4 today, I'll play HOTS tonight. Otherwise tomorrow. Maito slang. And I'll also play HOTS on Saturday and Sunday. This Saturday, Sunday. Camel Barding is renamed to Camel Rider Barding. Shift still has bugs. Yeah, I haven't played. Shift still locked into shift attack move. Okay, it's still stupid then. Are you excited for Frostshine announcement tomorrow? Yes. Yes, I have caught up on the private infos that has been shared with important individuals like me. Preservation of knowledge technology no longer applies twice to text research in the House of Wisdom. Oh my god. Field constructed. Mangonels and Springles now have the correct hotkeys. Camel archers can now be selected with the select military hotkey. Wait, what? They couldn't? This shows that camel archers were designed after they designed select military hotkey. Incendiary arrow visual no longer lost when composite bows upgraded. Okay. Chinese. A lot of balance changes coming. Let me know what you think, chat. Are Chinese dead? You know, Chinese actually are a powerful symbol. The Civ of Chinese in AOE4 is a powerful symbol for game health in general. Every single time, people call the Civ dead. And guess what? I'm still playing Chinese. It's funny because I'm still playing HOTS, Warcraft 3 and AOE4. But the thing is, they're not dead and Chinese are not dead. So let's look at the changes. Firelance move speed increased from 6 to 6.5. A little bit faster. Fire Lancer time between attacks reduced. So a little bit faster. Pyrotechnics only affects hand cannoneers instead of all gunpowder units. Weapon range bonus changed to +1.5 tiles. Total cost reduced from 1k to 500. Chinese were stacking bonuses for gunpowder units, creating super units like Clock Tower Bomber that was too good in too many rolls. Agreed. But even the repair change itself would have already affected Clock Tower Bombers a lot. They quartered the repair speed of Clock Tower Bombers. If you think you can do the same thing where you have 30 men-at-arms and 6 bombers with 3 villagers around it to repair, it don't be like that no more. But yeah, that's it's a multi Clock Tower Bomber nerf. There's some excited military changes coming though. Reload drills, attack speed. I wonder if Fire Lancers have an AoE charge damage then on Siege. I guess they will. Reload attack speed increased, but something. I've started thinking we need an RTS that not only rotates things like maps, but also units. Oh, like Flare of the... Like you can't make Bat Riders right now, but you can make Kodo Beasts. Then next time you can make Chimera. Fire Lancers will have AoE. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. That sounds like suitable for a pay-to-win card game. It's essentially how card games rotate units, right? Going out of cycle, only the 5 most recent card expansions are valid for current standard tournament format. I'm listening. No. Gabe is listening. Okay. The Nested Beast and all Clock Tower Siege units are included in the Melee vs Siege rework. Granary cost reduced. Okay. I think even the Muslim and I will start making granaries now. The Muslim was in the Never Granary camp. The Viper was in the Always Granary camp. I was in the Sometimes. It had a prohibitive cost for a relatively small improvement, 10%. And that didn't mean 10% more income. You know how these things are, there's walking. And apparently granaries are still slightly farther than mills in general. But 150 wood is solid. Barbican of the Sun. You can now purchase Springleton cannon emplacements in H3 and 4. These changes give the landmark better scaling. Great Wall Gatehouse no longer gives 50% damage to units and Stonewall towers around the landmark. Now gives 25% range damage to all units on stone walls anywhere. No longer provides bonus health to stone walls and gates, but it does come with a Nest of Bees emplacement that shoots 16 arrows. Interesting. Spiritway Landmark no longer reduces the cost of dynastic units in stables and archery ranges. Instead, there will be dynasty technologies, which can be researched for minus 50% cost and double research speed. I heard that Chuganu will be in here and maybe some others. So Chuganu normally in archery range, but now here as well. Maybe they'll have like dynasty upgrades, specific dynasty upgrades that can only be unlocked after dynasty or something. Can research. When a dynasty unit dies, nearby units will receive. Okay, I read this differently when I was having breakfast. I read when a dynasty unit dies nearby the Spiritway, nearby units will receive. This is better. Anytime any dynasty unit dies anywhere, nearby units to it will receive Bloodlust Frenzy. 20% attack speed and 20 health over 10 seconds. 2 health per second. I guess this counts for Siege as well. This is crazy good. The upgrades are going to be Elite Fire Lancer, Veteran Fire Lancer, and Elite Chuganu and Veteran Chuganu, and Ancient Techniques. So the Dynasty units and the Ancient Techniques 8% gathering. I tested, it doesn't affect Siege. Oh. It's about 2 tiles range, I tested it. Okay. Does it work when you delete units? That is just like Sacrificial Dagger in Warcraft 3 Undead, the Reforged change. So let's say that I took a shot from a Mangonel and I've got 30... Yeah, it does work? Oh my god. So if I have 30 Chuganu and they're all half-life, I just need to mysteriously poison 2 of them. And the rest are right as rain again. That's dark. Yeah, I guess this is in line with keeping dynasty bonuses. But is it only for scouts that are alive right now, or is it all scouts forever? Even new ones you make. That's not clear. Spiritway will no longer reduce any costs, Nosy Bob. No longer. You don't need to make stables and archery range around the landmark ever again. Except if you want to protect it from melee attacks. Hi. Okay. The Ming didn't... And it doesn't stack the healing, so you have to kill one and then kill another. And you get attack speed. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You're definitely always going to delete one Shuganu as a fight begins then. It's a kind of weird death stim. Yeah. So, what? Let's say I bring 5 Chuganu, and then 30 hand cannons, and 30 knights. And you just put Chuganu everywhere. And those Chuganu know very well they weren't... they weren't invited just because they know how to shoot well and they got the cool repeater crossbow. No. They are there just because meat's back on the menu, boys. Accidentally delete whole army. Yeah, you know that's gonna happen once too. I think you don't even get elite Chuganu anymore, right? You just get the lowest level Chuganu and you bring 1 in every army, or 3, just for sustenance. Shoot him to encourage the rest for discipline. Delhi Sultanate Imperial Tech is now times 12 instead of times 15 multiplier. Burning oil, increased time, all-seeing eye. I think all-seeing eye is the house of learning for towers, right? Swiftness, massive delay, 270 to 450 seconds. Pro Scouts plus 52 seconds, but survival techniques minus 90. Herbal medicine plus 45 seconds. Oh wow, it was producing food while under construction. So you could just start your H4 landmark, get some food, and then cancel it, and then go H3 all in. And now you got 200 bonus food, all for the small price of a 3,600 opportunity cost being tied up. Damn. Too bad that bug got fixed. I can still exploit it on live service right now. Textile Technologies now does boost Hisar. Tower Elephant ranged units are now properly affected by all damage upgrades. Dome of the Faith landmark changes. Charged from half cost to 40% less, but does have 50% production speed. So does that mean that a scholar will cost 90 instead of 75? But get produced in 20 seconds, down from 45, down from 30, down to 20. Hisar Academy gives you like 20 villagers for free. That's pretty good. It was bugged, that's why I never used it. If this is 90 gold, 20 seconds, that's pretty strong. AOE is like more than half a year old. They're still fixing obvious bugs. Damn, that's slow. Yep. Well, there was a lot to fix. You know, RTS are pretty complicated. And maybe we got spoiled by StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3, that they were that good. Or maybe we weren't spoiled. I don't know. But they are pretty complex, and we are quite a demanding audience. It sounds like AOE4 release was still better than Cyberpunk 2071 or whatever. Is 20k karma a lot? I don't know. What can you use karma for? English. Shipwrights is now Admiralty. Admiralty gives +1 range to all English combat, and Shipwrights has been added as a baseline. So everything is 10%. Wait, is it 10% cheaper or faster? It's cheaper, right? English ships will be 10% cheaper. From right away. That's nice. Wingard Palace now can, besides the motley army with the trebuchet, can also do a triple knight, triple horseman production, or a triple hand cannon, triple crossbowman production. Interesting. Abbey of King landmark changes. The radius of healing increased. I think that's nice. Easier to fit an army around this building, as well as making it easier to benefit boats when built on the coast. Interesting. Now, French currently is the best performing civ on the ladder, and it's doing really well in pro play as well. So expecting some small nerfs here, unless the other civs have all received buffs to the point that there needs to be a counter buff from French. Royal Institute discount buff 20 to 30%. Red Palace, fewer weapons by default. Only 2 arbalests instead of 3. But you can still have 15 extra arbalests when you stuff it. So it barely makes a difference. College of Artillery's Royal Siege units now included in the melee siege rework, we already see. Chamber of Commerce was bugged and gave no bonus value, now it does. French trade ship bonus from 20% gold, 20% all resources on trade. So basically 40% more resources than before. So, French got buff, 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 nerf. Now this is the most meta. This one gets used sometimes, this one almost never, maybe it will now. This one almost never. So for the most part it's the same as before. But French did not get nerfed. And what happened to English? Buff. Buff, buff, buff. And English was pretty good too. Delhi. Buff. Nerf, 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 buff. Nerf. Nerf. Buff. This is a big buff that I didn't read out. Tower elephants now get all damage upgrades. That's a buff. And that's a buff. So Delhi, English and French are top 4. And English, French and Delhi all get buffed, which is a bit strange to me. Chinese, we don't know yet. And Abbasid barely got changed, so let's go to the next. If they go with the methodology of buffing everything, that's kind of like, that's fine. HRE. Regnitz Cathedral Landmark now provides 200 gold on all captured relics, rather than 300 for some. Yeah, this has been my feedback since the beginning. Since months ago. They went with the 2 garrison Regnitz instead. But now it's gonna be up to 3 again. It's also fully functional monastery, so you can use Regnitz for upgrades. That is really interesting. So you can immediately get the 10% inspiration gathering upgrade if you like. That's a pretty big buff, mate. And while you do get less gold from 2 relics, I think it's only fair. And now you can put them in other places. Outposts and keeps, which is a buff to both HRE relic cheese as well as defense, but those relics are at the very least contestable, accessible and stealable, which I think is a fun counterplay situation. After all, if you put it in a keep, someone kills it, they can go and yoink your relic. Typically your Regnitz is out of reach of yoinking, so this encourages riskier, higher reward play. I like it. You do need 3 relics to even out the 2 relics from before. But overall, it is a nerf to 2 relic play, but it is a buff to 3 relic play, in my opinion. That's 600 instead of 700, but you get 3 emplacements instead of 1 emplacement buff. So I'll take the 3 emplacement buffs for 100 gold per minute. And this one is saving you 300 lumber. To make a monastery. It's also a timing advantage to have to make a monastery. Although monasteries do produce scholars, but now you can get the research more easily. HRE prelates will also inspire units when they start healing. This is pretty big. Typically you wouldn't heal your villagers early game that got harassed by a Khan, because it would cost you inspiration time. It isn't clear to me whether this reads... Yeah, I know it's in all buildings. It isn't clear to me whether this means the unit that is being healed also gets inspired, or when a prelate is healing one or multiple units, it will continue inspiring villagers around it as per usual. That's what I don't know yet. Minework, Palace Landmark, discount and research speed buffed even more from 30 to 40. I mean, that's a big deal. Minework is still the more stressful landmark because you need to manage a lot more prelates. So it's nice, I guess, that it is being rewarded with a better price point and timing advantage. Though it's pretty crazy. Read Aachen? Yeah, I know. I've seen that. Aachen Chapel now accepts the drop-off of all resources. So you can farm all the way around it. Or you can make it touch a mining camp if you wanted to. like a stone mining camp, if that's how it works out. Though I wonder at the exact distance that you have to walk to Aachen. If we still had Spirit of the Law, then he would do a comparison. But we can still check whether an Aachen against the stone mining camp is slower gathering than a stone mining camp. But yeah, it's a free Gur, actually. We have Grubby. Yeah, but Grubby plays a lot. He doesn't spend 15 hours designing a video and then releases one video. I'm a live streamer. I don't have the time to do 10-hour YouTube videos. Fix the gross bug where Dark Age and Feudal Prelates were only healing for... Oh, so it was true. Some people said they felt like the Prelates were healing very slowly. Yeah, you're freer to place Aachen now, and it's nice that Aachen can receive farm food. But again, I wonder at the distance, because this ends up being really relevant. Just like we saw with the granary. If they need to walk all the way to inside the building, it becomes not good to use it as such. Aachen, is that the correct pronunciation? Where is Aachen? In Germany or Netherlands? If it was in Netherlands, it would be Aachen. In Germany, it would be more like Aachen, perhaps. Maybe it's not quite as hard as I pronounce it. Quite similar, quite similar. Mangudai time between attacks reduced from 138 to 125. It's back to its original strength. Traction, trebuchet, yeah. Improved economy technologies. Bonus of improved economy technology for Mongols improved from 5 to 7.5%. Oh, okay. So they had wood harvesting upgrade 15%, or you could get the improved version, it'll be 20%. Now it's going to be 22.5. Interesting. These technologies were usually not utilized. So although these are Mongol buffs, we don't know if they're actually going to get used. Kurultai. Radius increased to 7.5 tiles. Healing effect no longer requires Khan, but the damage still requires the Khan. I think these are good changes. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's correct to let healing always work and to let damage only work when Khan is there. Why would you buff Mangudai? Mangudai are a fun unit that have a hard counter in archers. I like Mangudai. I've never thought Mangudai are OP because archers counter them so hard. I mean, this is going to help them a bit. And Imperial Mangudai with good upgrades, when Mongol has a small lead, can actually be really scary even against archers. But yeah, I think it's fine. Mongols Mangudai loses to archers. That's a good thing. Mongols will have access to geometry technologies in the workshop. Tithe Barns is now correct. Pastures Barracks now have the same health as their unpacked versions. Oh, I didn't know that changed. Guess it didn't auto-update when they made a change. Roos, Horse Archer, back to its original strength. It's going to attack faster. Roos probably needs some love now. They're a little bit lower on the win rates. Spaskaya Tower Landmark now unlocks the building of stone walls. Huh? This gives unique functionality to the weakest Imperial Age keep landmarks and makes a more compelling choice when compared to the High Armory. Now unlocks the building of stone walls. Spaskaya. This is Age 4. Why would it need to unlock stone walls? Oh wait! It's Roos! I knew I was probably being dense. Oh yeah. Yeah. 1,000 hours by the way. Yeah. Pro player. Yeah. World champion by the way. Oh okay. It's the weakest Imperial Age keep landmark. Is it? What about Berkshire? Berkshire is kind of trash. I guess maybe it was the weakest. Boskaya Tower. Okay. That's cool. 20k karma, by the way. Yeah, I think that's fine. That's fair. At least they can't shoot over their own stone walls with their Mega Springles. Kremlin landmark changes. Doubled the range. That's huge. Default weapon range from 6 to 8. Garrison arrow range from 6 to 8. These changes... Yo, I feel like trying some Rus with this again. Fast expansion Rus. I had fun with Rus mostly when I was doing Kremlin double TC. Remember? We want some high level opponents with Kremlin fast expand. Yeah, I think Golden Gate is still very favorable in Stone Exchange in particular. I got Kremlin rushed by Rus on PUP yesterday, sad. Yeah. Yeah. You would, wouldn't you? Yeah, actually, let's not do this relic. Sorry. This, yes. This, no. No purse. I still maintain that all towers, even the 7 range arrow slit emplacement and the springald, are really, really obnoxious in tower rushes and are probably too good. Yeah. What Civ now have worse win ratio in top 100? You mean since this patch didn't drop yet? I think the worst right now is Chinese with 47% or so last time I checked. Then I think HRE, then Rus, then Abbasid, then depends on what data you sort by, highest rank or all ranks. Then top 4 is like Delhi, English, Mongols, French in that order with French on top. So it's like French, Mongols, English, Delhi, Abbasid, and then the rest. Chinese at the bottom. High trade house landmark changes. Fix the aura indicator to show the correct tree counting range. The area looks visually bigger, but this is how it always was. And now you won't accidentally overlap your hunting cabin and your high trade house anymore. Loggia attack ships retain their +8 damage versus incendiary ships after researching incendiary arrows. Loggia ships were scaled to different sizes. They are all normalized now. Wait, what? Isn't that a bad thing? We needed more distinction between different ships. Loggia, like I can barely tell them apart. Alright, there's an easy fix to this. Just auto-quit water games. So, verdict. I think there's a lot of good in here. I don't like any kind of tower buffs, so this gets a downvote from me. I think that French should probably be nerfed just a bit. Maybe their research cost shouldn't be 30% discount, but like 20. That would be a nice general nerf that would bring them in line a bit. French are top in pro play and on ladder, and they're easy to play. So I think all that together could get addressed. Chinese, it's hard to see where they shake out, but let's at least give everything a fair try. Seems like some healthy changes to Delhi, HRE, English, and Rus for the most part. So that's nice. Hotkey changes are, of course, applaudable at all times. Yeah, overall a really good patch. I liked it. 7 out of 10. Subscribe for more content.